Hello everybody, how's things? Good. So yes, I've got the third part now, and as you can see, I've got the strings on, bridge is fixed, set the intonation and the action. So I'm just going to talk you through how I've done it. First of all, the thing was I've got a slight correction to part 2. When I was talking about setting the intonation, if you take the old bridge, now what I suggested was put a piece of paper underneath and then trace the position of these saddles. Well, that's all well and good if the new bridge has got the same dimensions. However, this new one is slightly narrower. This one is a bit longer than this one. So what I recommend instead is if you take a ruler and you see those holes, if you measure the distance between the saddle to the center of each hole for each of those saddles, assuming this is in tune, then that will give you the same intonation which was on the old bridge. And if you've actually screwed the bridge down, this is before the strings are on, obviously, then you'd measure from like the center hole of the screw. I mean, like the Phillips head screw, so you shouldn't have much trouble. But then just measure that distance, and then that should line up. I also mentioned about 25.75 inches as the scale length. Now, you might think, well, Fender scale is 25.5, but there is that tolerance here that you can actually move those saddles back. So doing it this way, you're actually saving a lot of time. The other way of doing it, if you were just fitting the bridge from scratch, saying you didn't really know, would be to put the bridge on, tune it up as you would normally, and then take something like a tuner. I mean, I haven't got a tuner pedal, but I've got one of these clip-on tuners. I prefer using my ear, actually. And then what you would do, you take the E and then take the harmonic. Now, is that harmonic slightly sharp or slightly flat from that open E? And then do that for all of the strings. And if it is slightly sharp or flat, then you take a Phillips headed screwdriver and then just tweak it slightly with these screws on the back. These are Phillips headed screws as well, so that helps you set the intonation. The action, now the way I've worked that out is from the nut. That will determine what the height is here. So if you can start out roughly with the action being like similar to how it is at the nut at the top of this fretboard, and do that for each of the 6 strings. Then what you're going to do is you take a trusty Allen key like this, and then you lift or raise the saddles by, because you see that each of these saddles has got these 2 Allen bolts. So you either raise or lower, just so that you first of all you reach that rough estimate from the start. As I was saying, that like if you know what the height is here, try and aim for it to be here as well. Then what we're going to do, if you on each of the strings, if you just play a chromatic scale, bit of choking out there, but not much, so it's not too bad. and then just do that on for like all 16. Yeah, and so on. But you may find that there's a spot where it's actually choking out, or you're getting a bit of buzzing. Then you would raise the bridge saddles, and if you're doing it correctly, what you should find, as if you look on my bridge here, is that they should start to form a curve, and that curve will fit the radius of the fretboard, assuming that whoever cut the nut on the guitar knows what the hell they were doing. Otherwise you may have some problems. I haven't messed with the truss rod. I mean, this is something that came from that John Cruz tutorial about setting up 60 style guitars, because like the truss rod is here, and that's actually Fender's design fault. Even though this is a Japanese copy, on 60s guitars they put the truss rod here, so if you wanted to try and adjust that, you'd have to take the neck off. Well, you can't keep taking the neck off every 5 minutes, because the bolts just, you know, these 4 bolts, they just screw directly into the wood. So if you're dismantling it, you know, quite regularly, you're going to ruin the thread that's on the wood of the neck, and this is going to get loose. So you want to try and keep that as tight as possible, because that will help with like the sustain and the resonance and, you know, those kinds of issues. One more thing before I actually give you a test to show you what it sounds like. At the moment I've actually screwed the bridge down so it's flat against the body. Now I was watching, there was a video by Dave Simpson. I don't know if you follow Dave Simpson's channel, but he did like one of those question and answer sessions, and somebody said, is it better to screw the tremolo down or have it floating? And Dave was saying that, and I actually agree with him, that if you put the plate against the body, then that's going to improve the actual resonance here, you know, between these strings, and then we want to try and do that as much as possible. And I mean, so at the moment I haven't put the back plate on, but I've still got the screws like that. So it is actually, you can use it, but it's quite stiff. So it's not good. You're not going to be doing like Steve Vai and Van Halen or Alan Holdwood style slurs. You're not going to be doing that on this guitar. But then again, it's not designed for that. It's going to be more sort of subtle things, sort of like Hank Marvin type, sort of you know, tremolo effects and what have you. Or I might not use it at all. I mean, I'm quite tempted to just to block that off completely. I mean, like following like some of the research, I was looking at, because when I actually set this up, the action on here, it reminded me a lot of the like the Cray Stratocaster. I don't know if you ever tried one of those, but then I found an interview clip with him, and he was saying that his signature guitar is based on 2 of his favourite guitars that he's got. That his guitar has got a fixed bridge, and that body is based on a 58, whereas the neck, he said, is based on a 64. So I mean, I've always had an admiration for Robert Cray's sound anyway, because like he doesn't use like bags of distortion. He might just use maybe just a little bit of drive from the amp, but mainly he actually uses like a cleaner tone, and I kind of prefer that. And then we're getting into people like, you know, like Eric Clapton as well, who doesn't use the trem and just will block that off. So I think that's all about the setup. If you've got any other questions, then please leave them below, and then I'll try and answer them again. Okay, we've got the sound test for you now. As you can see here, it's mellower than with the old blocking. And those pickups are nice and throaty as well, which is great. Five-way switch, so we can do some in-between setting. Didn't work, did it? Middle position. This position. On the bridge. Bit of choking there. Well, maybe, or maybe it's, I'm not fretting it right. You see, one of the things with this is that you got to play the notes right, or else it sounds wrong. So it should get rid of like some of the sloppiness, which is. I overshot that note. Yeah, so I'm going to put some reverb in, and you know, I think it sounds best on the neck. So yeah, I mean it looks great, doesn't it? I'm still not sure about the pick guard. I mean I like it as it is, but at some point I think I may actually upgrade this to a 3-ply, or maybe a mint green one, or a red tortoiseshell. I'm not sure at the moment. But please let me know your comments below. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.